and good morning. It's Lynn here from the Learn English Network. We're in our Little Prince setting because that's the book we're reading. This is the English Book Club. Come along if you want to read a book, the whole book and nothing but the book. Now, I said to you guys I found a little website earlier, littleprince.com. I don't know if you've been there. Don't go yet because you'll push your connection, but it's quite charming indeed. It is quite charming, and it's got lots of information about the book, about the musical, about the planet. There's even a store in Paris which is basically everything to do with the Little Prince, which is just wow. If I go to Paris, I'm definitely going to go there. There's even a park. Yeah, it's a phenomena. It really is. So it's a good book to read, I think. Now, so far we've read up to naughty me! I'm on the wrong page. I'm on live chat. I should be in the forum. Gosh. Okay, there we are. So, if you go to groups, virtual worlders. No, sorry. If you go to chat. Chit chat and then go to books and poetry, you will find the thread about the Little Prince, and there are updates available from Eleanor here with some of the more difficult or obscure vocabulary covered. Okay, and you'll also find your corrections from each week in this thread as well. Now, Shiny was the first person to speak to me today, followed by Eleanor, followed by April, followed by Vinay. Okay, so that will be our reading list, sort of roll call, and you need to find this part in the book. I did not answer at that instant. Okay. So you'll need to search for I did not answer, and I think it's page 23. Okay. So we'll do our usual 5 minutes reading each. It works with 4 of us. It's not so good with 8. That's a page each, but I think that's okay if that's all right with you.
Sorry, how many pages? 3?
No, 5 minutes. I'll shout.
5 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. What you have to do, I'm afraid, is download the book. Has anybody got the link to the download? Let me just see.
It can be also opened in the viewer. I have it.
Thank you. Yes, if you could. Oh, thank you. Okay, there it is. Vinay. Yes, I downloaded it just so I can have it available without stretching my internet connection. Okay, so far, the story so far, we've got the pilot who's crashed in the desert. Okay, and he meets this little boy, the Little Prince. Okay. He also discusses his opinion of adults a lot. So he's not that happy about adults because adults see things and put their own interpretation on them. They don't always see what he sees. But the Little Prince sees what he sees. He sees in the picture he shows him, he sees a snake swallowing an elephant. Okay, so you can see some of the items that are mentioned in the book around you. And the Little Prince also asks him to draw a sheep, and he rejects several drawings until the narrator draws a box, and then the Little Prince sees the sheep in the box and he's happy. But the prince starts to describe where he comes from, and he realizes he comes from another planet. Okay, so a lot of the book is about perception and what we see around us and how we perceive what's around us. Any questions so far? You're all happy. Good. Then, shiny. Well, the Christmas box is the box he drew, and I meant to retexture it and forgot. That's the box. There's a sheep in there, April. Okay? There is a sheep in that box. Can you not see it? Here, I'll make it more literal. We'll move the sheep into the box. There you go. There you are. Just so his rear end's sticking out. No, I'll put his front end out. There you are. So the sheep in the box. Shiny, I will tell you when to stop reading. So it'll be about 5 minutes. But you can stop any time before that if you wish to. Remember, you don't have to keep going. Okay? Okay, whenever you're ready, Shiny.
I did not answer. At that instant, I was trying to myself, if this boat still won't turn, I'm going to knock it out with the hammer. Again, the little prince disturbed my thoughts. And you actually believe that the flowers... Oh no, I cried. No, I don't believe anything. I answered you with the first thing that came into my head. Don't you see? I'm very busy with matters of consequence. He stared at me, thunderstruck. Matters of consequence. He looked at me there, with my hammer in my hand, my fingers black with engine grease, bending down over an object which seemed to him extremely ugly. You talk just like the grown-ups. That made me a little ashamed, but he went on relentlessly. You mix everything up together. You confuse everything. He was really very angry. He tossed his golden curls in the breeze. I know a planet where there is a certain red-faced gentleman. He has never smelled a flower. He has never looked at a star. He has never loved anyone. He has never done anything in his life but add up figures. And all day he says over and over, just like you, I'm busy with matters of consequence, and that makes him swell up with pride. But he is not a man. He is a mushroom. A what? A mushroom. The little prince was now white with rage. The flowers have been growing thorns for millions of years. For millions of years, the sheep have been eating them just the same. And is it not a matter of consequence to try to understand why the flowers go to so much trouble to grow thorns, which are never of any use of them? Is the warfare between the sheep and the flowers not important? Is this not of more consequence than the fat red-faced gentleman's sons? And if I know I myself one flower which is unique in the world, which grows nowhere but on my planet, but which one little sheep can destroy in a single bite some morning without even noticing what he is doing. Oh, you think that is not important? Oh, you think that is not important? His face turned from white to red as he continued. If someone loves a flower of which just one single blossom grows in all the millions and millions of stars, it is enough to make him happy just to look at the stars. He can say to himself, somewhere my flower is there. But if the sheep eats the flower, in one moment all his stars will be darkened. You think that it's not important? He could not say anything more. His words were choked by sobbing. The night had fallen. I had let my tools drop from my hands. Of what moment now was my hammer, my boat, or thirst, or death, or death. One on one star, one planet, my planet, the Earth, there was a little prince to be comforted. I took him in my arms and rocked him. I said to him, "The flower that you love is not in danger. I will draw you a model for your ship. I will draw you a railing to put around your flower. I did not know what to say to him. I felt awkward and blundering. I did not know how I could reach him, where I could overtake him and go on hand in hand with him once more. It is such a secret place, the land of tears."
Perfectly done because, yeah, we ended a chapter. Very nice. Very, very emotional indeed. Very emotional part. Okay, well done. So let's have a look. We've got a couple of words that you need to look at and just one little bit about intonation. Okay. So the first word is relentlessly. To be relentless, to do something relentlessly.
Relentlessly.
Good, well done. Just bear with me a second. I've got Ahmed Hach wanting to join us. Hang on, you need to be... Okay, sorry about that. Okay, I've just sent him a message to join the group and to be my friend. There you go. Okay, sorry about that, Shiny. Very good, relentlessly. And then red-faced, not red-faced, red-faced. Your face, remember? But to be red-faced, okay? Try it.
Red-faced.
That's it, yes. When you blush for embarrassment, we say you're red-faced, okay? Then comforted, comforted. Try it.
Comfort. Comfort.
Comforted. You've got that It's not a silent E. It's a voice E. So comforted.
Comforted.
That's it. To comfort somebody. Yeah. To comfort someone. To give them comfort. So it can be a noun and a verb. Okay. But he comforted him. He was in need of comfort, so he comforted him. Okay? Then awkward. It's an awkward word. Awkward.
Awkward.
Yeah, it is a bit awkward till you get used to it. Very good. When you feel embarrassed and shy and clumsy, you feel awkward. Okay? And then this next one, if you notice there's an exclamation mark at the end of the sentence. So you'd say it in shock or anger. Matters of consequence. It's not a question. Matters of consequence? That would be a question. It kicks up at the end. But this is a statement and it's to stress how important it is. So matters of consequence. Try it.
Matters of consequence.
Very good. Much better. Good. Yeah. Okay, so welcome to Ahmed. We've got you in a box at the moment, but you just need to move out of it. Okay, you do need to be a member of the network group to get into this particular sim, and only during a session. So that's why you couldn't join straight away. Sorry, I thought you were already a member of the group, but yeah, so make sure you stay a member of the group if you want to come to the different sims we have. Okay. No white dot. Oh, okay. Okay. No dot. Ahmed. Yes. Try toggling your sound on and off and check your settings under preferences. Okay. Always look for the white dot. Oh. Sometimes it's just wait. Sometimes you just need to wait. Connection to establish. But check your settings. Okay. Okay, so we'll carry on. I can hopefully send Ahmed the stream link to listen in if he can't get his voice working. But who's to read next? Let me have a look. And it is Eleanor. Eleanor.
Ah, okay.
Okay.
Can you hear me? I have.
Yep, you've got good sound there. That's excellent.
I'll start then.
Lovely.
Chapter 8. The Rose Arrives and the Little Princess Planet. I soon learned to know this flower better. On the Little Princess Planet the flowers had always been very simple. They had only one ring of petals. They took up no room at all. They were a trouble to nobody. One morning they would appear in the grass, and by night they would have faded peacefully away. But one day, from a seed blown from no one knew where, a new flower had come up. And the little prince had watched very closely over this small sprout, which was not like any other small sprout on his planet. It might, you see, have been a new kind of baobab. The shrub soon stopped growing and began to get ready to produce a flower. The little prince, who was present at the first appearance of a huge bud, felt at once that some sort of miraculous apparition must emerge from it. But the flower was not satisfied to complete the preparations for her beauty in the shelter of her green chamber. She chose her colors with the greatest care. She adjusted her petals one by one. She did not wish to go out into the world all rumpled like the field poppies. It was only in the full radiance of her beauty that she wished to appear. Oh yes, she was a coquettish creature, and her mysterious adornment lasted for days and days. Then, one morning, exactly at sunrise, she suddenly showed herself. And, after working with all this painstaking precision, she yawned and said, "Ah, I'm scarcely awake. I beg that you will excuse me. My petals are still all disarranged." But the little prince could not restrain his admiration. "Oh, how beautiful you are!" "Am I not?" the flower responded sweetly. "And I was born at the same moment as the sun." The little prince could guess easily enough that she was not any too modest, but how moving and exciting she was. "I think it is time for breakfast," she added an instant later. "If you would have the kindness to think of my needs." And the little prince, completely abashed, went to look for a sprinkling can of fresh water. So he tended the flower. So too she began very quickly to torment him with her vanity, which was, if the truth be known, a little difficult to deal with. One day, for instance, when she was speaking of her 4 thorns, she said to the little prince, "Let the tigers come with their claws." There are no tigers on my planet, the little prince objected. And anyway, tigers do not eat weeds. I am not a weed, the flower replied sweetly. Please excuse me. I'm not at all afraid of tigers, she went on, but I have a horror of drafts. I suppose you wouldn't have a screen for me. A horror of drafts, that is bad luck for a plant, remarked the little prince, and added to himself, this flower is a very complex creature. At night I'd want you to put me under a glass globe. It is very cold where you live. In the place I came from. But she interrupted herself at that point. She had come in the form of a seed. She could not have known anything of any other words. Embarrassed over having let herself be caught on the verge of such an untruth, she coughed 2 or 3 times in order to put the little prince in the wrong. The screen? I was just going to look for it when you spoke to me. Then she forced her cough a little more, so that he should suffer from remorse just the same. So the little prince, in spite of all the goodwill that was inseparable from his love, had soon come to doubt her. He had taken seriously words which were without importance, and it made him very unhappy. I ought not to have listened to her, he confided to me one day. One never ought to listen to the flowers. One should simply look at them and breathe their fragrance. Mine perfumed all my planet. But I did not know how to take pleasure in all her grace. This tale of claws, which disturbed me so much, should only have filled my heart with tenderness and pity. And he continued his confidences. The fact is that I did not know how to understand anything. I ought to have judged by deeds, and not by words. She cast her fragrance and her radiance over me. I ought never to have run away from her. I ought to have guessed all the affection that lay behind her poor little stratagems. Flowers are so inconsistent, but I was too young to know how to love her. Chapter 9. Okay, yeah, it's okay, yeah.
Okay, yeah, that's a great place to stop. It seems to be one chapter every 5 minutes. It's really good. It's a perfect book for this session. Okay, nicely read. Just a couple of words. One word is just about the stress. The pronunciation's fine, but the stress is a bit off. Okay, so present, not
Present.
present.
Yeah, I remember.
Yeah,
Yeah.
we've got present, and then the sent bit comes on. Present, but present. So it drops more at the end. Try it. Present.
Present. Yeah,
That's
yeah,
it.
yeah, I
Good.
remember.
And then this one was the Ulls, I'm afraid. The Ulls are back. So sorry. So we've got the Ulls back. Let me change the sun position. Oh, that's better. It's getting dark again. So, a little difficult to deal with. Okay, little.
a little difficult, a little difficult to deal with.
That's
I
it.
remember.
Yeah.
Yeah. Schwa, yeah.
It's the Ulls. No,
Yes.
it's not the schwa. It's the Ulls.
Yes. Yes.
Very good. Well done. Well done. Nicely read. Any questions so far? Everybody happy? Then I think it's April next. April, whenever you're ready.
But I had the question.
Oh, hang on. Oh, okay. Sorry, I wasn't reading. I was expecting somebody to talk. Okay. So, a horror of drafts. A draft. Yeah, I tend to say I tend to spell it draft, okay? Which might be where you've got a problem in your dictionary, because I know your dictionary. And it's just cool air. So, for example, if you leave the door slightly open, and you've got a lovely warm room, but that door is slightly open, you'll get a draft come in. And it can be horrible. It cools the room down very quickly, a draft. So it's a current of cold air, usually coming through a gap in a window or a door, maybe under the door. You can get draft excluders that you put against the bottom of the door to stop the drafts. So the plant is frightened of a cold draft, because of course plants are very some plants are very weeds are very hardy, but roses in particular, they can be very sensitive. Okay, and so a draft could kill her petals, make her drop her petals, maybe. That's why she has a horror of it. She's frightened of it. Okay?
Okay, I hate that also.
Yeah, I hate getting a draft on my neck. It gives me a stiff
neck.
neck.
No, it's on my legs.
On your
legs.
Oh, okay,
it's so cold.
Yeah, I don't mind that on my legs, but I sometimes, when it's winter and I'm running a session, I'll put a scarf on. I'll be sitting here with the scarf on, even though I'm indoors, because I hate getting a draft on my neck. Yeah, aches and pains. We're getting old, Eleanor. Let's get old together. Okay.
Okay, another question, Lynn, about preposition.
Oh,
so,
no.
The title of chapter 8, let me see, it was about the flower arrives, the rose arrives at the little princess planet. But then we have also a sentence starting
on the little
with
princess
on
planet.
the planet.
Yes.
Yeah, what is that?
Okay, she arrives at a destination, but she's on the planet. We're all on planet Earth together. Okay? But if you arrive at my house, then it's the destination. Okay? So it's like she was travelling towards the planet, and then she arrives there, she arrives at her destination, but then she's on the planet because she's already arrived. Okay?
Okay. That's good. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I
know you love prepositions.
I hate it in the book. Every time the title started without capital letter. Why is that? Chapter 9, and then the little prince. The T is.
Yes, it's just an affectation. Remember the rules of capitalization, the rules of how to start sentences, end sentences. When you're looking at literature, when you're looking at literary works, they can do what they want. As a writer, you can do what you want. Let's look at Ulysses, not blooming comma in the whole thing. And there's another one that's just one long, isn't it? Oh gosh, what I can't remember the book, but it's just one long sentence. So literature has its own rules in that there aren't any. Okay? Yes, if you were writing in a test, capitalize the T, put a full stop at the end. Okay? But the author can do what the heck he wants.
I will stop complaining then.
No, you can complain. It's a bit annoying for learners because you learn correctly and then you come across poetry or literature and you're like, but that's wrong. Just let it go. Let it go.
Okay, chapter 9. The little prince leaves his planet. I believe that for his escape, he took advantage of the migration of a flock of wild birds. On the morning of his departure, he put his planet in perfect order. He carefully cleaned out his active volcanoes. He possessed 2 active volcanoes, and they were very convenient for heating his breakfast in the morning. He also had 1 volcano that was extinct, but as he said, one never knows. So he cleaned out the extinct volcano too. If they are well cleaned out, Volcanoes burn slowly and steadily without any eruptions. Volcanic eruptions are like fires in a chimney. On our Earth, we are obviously much too small to clean out our volcanoes. That is why they bring no end of trouble upon us. Uh, the little prince also pulled up, with a certain sense of dejection, the last little shoots of the baobabs. He believed that he would never want to return, but on this last morning all these familiar tasks seemed very precious to him. And when he watered the flower for the last time and prepared to place her under the shelter of her glass globe, he realized that he was very close to tears. "Goodbye," he said to the flower. But she made no answer. "Goodbye," he said again. The flower coughed, but it was not because she had a cold. "I've been silly," she said to him at last. "I asked for forgiveness. Try to be happy." He was surprised by this absence of reproaches. He stood there all bewildered, the glass globe held arrested in midair. He did not understand this quiet sweetness. "Of course I love you," the flower said to him. "It is my fault that you have not known it all the while. That is of no importance. But you have been just as foolish as I. Try to be happy. Let the glass globe be. I don't want it any more. But the wind, my cold is not so bad as all that. The cool night air will do me good. I am a flower. But the animals, well, I must endure the presence of 2 or 3 caterpillars if I wish to become acquainted with the butterflies. It seems that they are very beautiful, and if not the butterflies and the caterpillars, who will call upon me? You will be far away. As for the large animals, I'm not at all afraid of any of them. I have my clothes." And now, Ellie,
I think it's
she shot
naively.
her.
Naively.
Oh,
I don't know why, but in that particular version of the book,
it's
it's the only
yeah. It
word that
looks like a
fits. I
Chinese
know.
character.
I have
Yeah.
no idea why that's happened, but yeah, naively is what I figured out it must mean. It happened before last week, if you
Okay.
remember. Okay.
Okay. And naively she showed her 4 thorns. Then she added, "Don't linger like this. You have decided to go away. Now go." For she did not want him to see her crying. She was such a proud flower. Oh, it's finished.
We all seem to be reading one chapter, so that's good. Well done. Okay. Any questions? Oh, sorry. No, let me give you your pronunciation first, April. Okay. You won't like this, but it is just the way it is. Okay. Don't get annoyed with me. I didn't make the rules of pronunciation. So we'll start with escape. So escape. Try it.
Escape?
Yes.
Escape.
Yeah. I know it looks
Okay,
like
not
S.
escape.
No, that's the
Mhm.
thing. It's the stress is slightly different. So again, if you look at
Escape.
yeah, if you look at the pronunciation in Google, it'll say escape. There is escape as well, but escape we don't really do that. The greatest we don't say the great escape. The great escape. Okay. So the next one is familiar. Not like family. We say family. So family, but familiar.
Okay, familiar,
That's
familiar.
it. Yeah, well done. So again, we've got that fa, which is the schwa. Familiar. Okay. But family with fa. Okay. Okay, so you got family, familiar. You have to familiarize yourself with that. Okay?
Okay.
Okay.
Familiar.
Yes, that's it. Family, familiar. He was not familiar with their family. And then bewildered, not wild. So we've got wild.
Okay.
I know. A wild child. Okay, so wild rhymes with child. A good way of remembering is a wild child. Yeah. But
Okay.
bewitched, bothered, and bewildered.
Bewildered.
Be-
Bewildered.
Bewildered.
Be.
Yeah,
Bewildered.
that's
Bewildered.
it. Yeah. If you are,
Oh, Lind.
I know. Sorry.
Last night I had a nightmare because of the how to pronounce the r and ri. Ah, r and ri. I don't know anymore the difference when I have to use r and ri.
Well, it could have been worse because I had a proper nightmare last night. I had an awful nightmare last night, and it was full of blood and gore. So I think Vikings is getting to me. So it could have been. I'd love to have had a nightmare about pronunciation instead. But it means your brain's thinking about it. That's good. It means it's on your mind. Your brain's actually actively thinking about it. But yeah, it's a pain, I know.
Yeah. And then I opened the dictionary with the voice, and every r that I open has the same pronunciation. So how can I know? I still don't know what the difference is.
Well, as you know, I am constantly apologising for English pronunciation. I can only say sorry so much. Okay, the last one is just about the T endings. Now, if you visit Nottingham, by all means go, I don't want it anymore. But if you go anywhere else, it's best to end with T. I don't want it anymore. Okay, so I don't want it anymore. Try it.
I don't want it anymore.
That's better, yeah. And if you notice want it, it's almost like it's one word. Yeah, want it. I don't want it anymore. But dropping your T is quite common in some parts of the UK. For example, where I grew up, I don't want it anymore. Don't want it. It just doesn't sound very nice, okay? Oh dear, what can I say? So enunciation, that's enunciation. That's just making sure you enunciate. And it's not a bad habit to get, okay? It makes you much more understandable. But as I say, you will go to places in the UK, probably in America too, where they don't enunciate all the words, all the letters. But it can make understanding a little difficult. Okay? Okay, so Vinay, you've been very patiently sitting there. Are you ready?
Yes,
Awesome.
but can you paste the text because I'm not able to see some of the text in my
Okay, I can
files
cut
video
and
file.
paste then. Hang on a second. Now this is me. Let's see. I'll have to do it in little bits because, as you know, cut and paste doesn't work that well in virtual worlds. But let's give it a go. Cut and paste. Cut and paste. Cut and paste. We'll give you one chapter. Yeah, okay. Okay. Oh, it's quite a long chapter. Okay, read those two pages.
Okay,
Okay.
so should I start?
Yes, please, whenever you're ready.
The little prince visited the king. He found himself in the neighborhood of the asteroid 325, 326, 327, 328, 329, and 330. He began, therefore, by visiting them in order to add to his knowledge. The first of them was inhabited by a king clad in royal purple and ermine. He was seated upon a throne which was at the same time both simple and majestic. "Ah, here is a subject," exclaimed the king, when he saw the little prince coming. And the little prince asked himself how could he recognize me when he had never seen me before. He didn't know how the word is simplified for kings. To them all men are subjects. "Approach, so that I may see you better," said the king, who held consumingly proud of being at last a king over somebody. The little prince looked everywhere to find a place to sit down, but the entire planet was crammed and obstructed by the king's magnificent ermine robe. So he remained standing upright, and since he was tired, he yawned. It is contrary to etiquette to yawn in the presence of a king, the monarch said to him. "I forbid you to do so." "I can't help it. I can't stop myself," replied the little prince, thoroughly embarrassed. "I have come on a long journey, and I have had no sleep." "Ah, then," the king said, "I order you to yawn. It is years since I have seen anyone yawning. Yawns, to me, are object of curiosity. Come now, yawn again. It is an ardor that frightens me. I can completely repeat, repeat. I order you sometimes to yawn, and sometimes too. He sputtered a little and seemed vexed. What the king fundamentally insisted upon was that his authority should be respected. He tolerated no disobedience. He was an absolute monarch, but because he was a very good man, he made his orders reasonable. If I ordered a general, he would say, by way of example, if I ordered a general to change himself into a seabird, and if the general did not obey me, that would not be the fault of the general. It would be my fault. "May I sit down?" "Come now," a timid inquiry from the little prince. "I order you to do so." The king answered him and majestically gathered in a fold of his ermine mantle. But the little prince was wondering. The planet was time. Over what could this king really rule? Sighed. "Sire," he said to him, "I beg that you will excuse my asking you a question. I order you to ask me a question." The king hastened to assure him, "Sire, over what do you rule?" "Over everything," said the king, with magnificent simplicity. Thank you.
Okay, sorry, it's difficult when I'm cutting and pasting and oh dear. Okay, well done. Nicely read, and yes, we've got some words for you, which is great. Remember, this is why you are here. We'll just start with the simple one, which is about how to read numbers for things like asteroids, scientific numbers, room numbers as well, and telephone numbers. We don't go into the hundreds, we do it in single numbers. Okay, so it's asteroids 325, 326, 327, 328, 329, and 330. Now, 330, we might say 330 because it's not so easy with the O. 330, 330. But anyway, generally, if you're given a key to a hotel room number and you're in room, we don't say room 105, we'd say room 105, room 101. It's a famous TV series. Okay, so just individual numbers. much easier to say. But you did perfectly on the actual numbers. It was perfect. But you didn't need to. You could have just said room asteroid 325, 326, 327, 328, 329 and 330. Okay? Now, the pronunciation. Let's have a look. We've got quite a few. So, let's start with the first one. Hang on a second. Cut and paste. So we've got clad. Clad. In this case, clad in clothing. You clad yourself. You can also clad a house. If you remember the fire at that was really horrific fire a few weeks ago, and that was the cladding on the building that set fire. Okay, but clad. Try it.
Clad.
Clad. Yeah. Duh, not t. Duh. Clad.
Clad.
That's better. Yeah, you've got to be careful between the d and the t ending. Clad. Yeah, clad. And then glad, but splat and rat. Okay. Okay, so the next one is to exclaim. He exclaimed. We've got the exclamation mark, remember? And it shows you that somebody
Yes.
exclaimed. Try it.
Exclaimed.
That's it, good. Now the next one is to see, and I saw. Saw.
I saw.
That's it. It sounds the same as saw. So if you hit your thumb with a hammer, it's saw. And you can see something, then you saw it. It's the past. It's a very irregular verb, okay? And you've also got the seesaw, of course. I don't know if you've ever been on a seesaw. There's one in the playground in the main sim. There's a seesaw. You sit on one end, somebody sits on the other, and you seesaw up and down. Okay. Okay, so the next one brings us to see. See, like see, the sea, not she. She, female. See. There's no sh there.
See.
That's it, yes. It sounds like see. So the verb to see. She can see the sea. Try that one.
She can see the sea.
No. She can see the sea.
She can see the sea.
Yay! Well done. Good. It's just a case of getting your tongue and your brain to accept that it's a s word, not a sh word. Okay? I think that's what I call a fossilized mistake from what you just said. So do be aware of it. Okay? Because it would confuse people. That would be a very confusing thing to hear. She instead of see. The next one from to consume, and then it's all consuming. If your passion for something takes over your life, it becomes all-consumingly. Sorry, it becomes all-consuming, and then it becomes an adverb. And I know how much you all love adverbs. Consumingly. Try it.
Consumingly.
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 That's it. Consumingly. Good. Then magnificent.
Magnificent.
Again, you've got this sh problem. It's magnificent.
Magnificent.
Okay, let's try it. Mag.
Mag.
Ni.
Ni.
Fis.
Fish.
No, not fish. This is a fish. I'm saying fis.
Fish. Fish.
Okay. There's a difference between sh and s. Okay. Just try saying s.
Sh.
S. Like sea. S.
Sea.
Yeah. So magnificent.
Magnificent. Magnificent.
Yeah, you're saying shunt. Okay. And it's not. It's sunt. Magnificent.
Magnificent.
Yeah, you're still saying shunt. You've got a real problem between the s word and the sh word, the sh sound and the s sound. I think,
Well, I required a lot of practice.
yeah, you do. And we've got some perfect practice for you. If you're feeling very brave, something that you can use just to train your brain to accept this s and sh, because you can say s, you can say it, you've said it. She sees the sea. You did it, but you've got to train your brain to accept it. So we've got what we call a tongue twister, and it's going to help you. It might basically kill you too. Okay, because it's called She Sells Seashells on the Seashore. Okay. She sells seashells on the seashore. The shells she sells are surely seashells. So if she sells shells on the seashore, I'm sure she sells seashore shells. So you can listen to it and you can practice it on that page. Okay? Give it a go. Practice it. You need to start training your tongue and your brain to accept this sound. But we'll move on. Okay, that's up to you to do. It is something that you've got to work on though. Okay. So the next one is ermine. Ermine. Try it. Ermine. Oh, Vinay, can you hear me? He's gone off to practice his She Sells Seashells. Okay, Vinay, 222. Ah, we've lost voice. Okay, yeah, don't click on the links when I give you them until the end of the session. It can affect your, yeah, it can affect your connection. Oh, yep, he's gone. No, he's gone. Okay, so I'll just go through the text and you can watch the video later. Let's move on. So the next one is yawned and to yawn. I'm off again, April. Okay, I can't say that word without having a good yawn. So yawn, not yearn. To yearn for something is to long for it. I yearn for chocolate. I have a yearning for some chocolate. But to yawn. Then thoroughly, not through, thoroughly, to be thorough, to do something thoroughly. Then is an exclamation. Aha, I see. Then. Okay, and then order, not ardour. Ardour is love, passion. Order is do this, don't do that. Okay? Then vexed, to feel vexed, worried, confused. It's very vexing to be vexed. Answered has a silent W. To answer somebody, not to swerve. If you're driving down a road and you see an animal in front of you, you swerve to avoid it. But to answer someone. Then question, hasten, hastened, and magnificent, the Magnificent Seven. Okay, so a little bit difficult with the s and the sh. Okay, yes, it's true. We did a session on sleep, and Shiny and April will confirm. I cannot talk about yawning without yawning. It's terrible. Yeah, don't talk about it. Don't yawn in front of me. I am so susceptible to yawning. Okay, so, oh God, I've set myself off now. And I'm tired, so I will yawn even more. I'm so sorry. It's just as well none of you are the king. You'd be ordering me not to yawn. Any questions before we end?
It's okay, the text is rather easy, no problems.
Good, good,
But
good.
very poetic, yeah.
It is. It's very lyrical. It's very gentle as well. I love the gentleness of it. I really do. I think it's delightful. Okay, so you'll find your corrections on the forum if you need to remember. And as I am going to do my best, my utmost, to get the videos online because I am behind, I'm afraid. But I'll put the links to the videos in each week as well. They are there. I just didn't open them publicly because I ran out of time this weekend. Blame Vikings. And setting people up on Discord. I was telling April this morning what my weekend consisted of. It was crazy. Absolutely mad. Oh, somebody mentioned Voltaire this weekend. Did he have several nom de plan? Did he have several different names he wrote under?
Perhaps, but I don't remember really.
Yeah, sorry, nom de plume,
Voltaire.
nom de guerre. I'm sure
yeah.
they mentioned it was on QI, and I wasn't paying attention. It was one of those times the telly was on, and I wasn't actually listening properly. And they were talking about nom de guerre, nom de plume, and how the French have actually accepted our use of nom de plume instead of nom de guerre, which is quite interesting because normally the French do such things. And I thought, I must remember that so I can tease on with it. That we might borrow words, but when we give them back, they've changed their meaning. But I'm sure they said that Voltaire had several, and I thought, oh, I must ask Eleanor. Anyway, you don't know, so that's fine. Maybe it wasn't Voltaire.
Oh.
I'll have to see I'll see if I can find that particular
I will
episode.
check. I will check.
Yeah.
Somewhere, his real name was Arwe. Pardon, I have begun to talk in French.
You can't talk about Voltaire without speaking in French.
Yes, of course. But I'm getting elder and elder, and then no.
Well, he had a nom de plume, of
In
course,
his
Voltaire.
early days, but of course Voltaire is the best known.
Yeah, but they said he had several.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I don't know, but anyway.
And he was in danger, living on the border just in case, so it's logical.
Well, yes, I would think that sometimes you could hide behind the nom de plume. And
it was common.
Yeah, yeah. So I think people blog in the same way nowadays, I guess. People who are in places that are not maybe as free as they could be definitely don't use their real name when they're writing. But yeah, I can only see Voltaire as his nom de plume. But they really did say he had several. But well, what do I know? I don't know.
But surely he didn't use them that often.
Possibly. Or they weren't his most famous pieces, perhaps. But,
exactly.
I thought you would
I
know.
will check it. It's interesting.
As his muse, I thought you would know.
Oh, now, it's really Mont Blanc.
Okay, so thank you for coming, and sorry to the guys who had connection problems. I'll try to remember not to put links in until the end, and then you won't crash quite so easily. I can do this. I've got four different things open at the moment because my connection. I can't do it when hubby's working from home. I have to be really careful because he uses up so much bandwidth for his work. But I can actually do it. But yeah, if you've got a wobbly connection, don't open any of the links I put in until the end of the session. Just cut and paste them into a document or something. But I'll put those links into the forum as well so that you can have a go there. Okay. So I'll put that link for Vinay, which is probably what crashed him. I'll put that in his corrections. Hang on, edit, Vinay. So at Vinay. for you to practice. And there you go. Okay. Anyway, thanks a lot, and I will see you in the next session. Don't forget, the calendar is up to date. And oh, hang on, somebody's there. Who's just turned up, sitting next to you? I think it's Ahmed. Ahmed, hopefully next time we can get your voice working. But no talk to the hand anymore. No, that's on a break. Okay. Just because of time, and yeah, the numbers were dwindling, shall we say. The number of attendees was dwindling, so there is no talk to the hand at the moment, especially whilst I'm learning German. I have to give myself a bit of time. I know you were always there. I'm so sorry, but it was like, one or two people, and then you have to just think, okay, it's not floating anybody's boat. So I had to go stop. Something had to go. That one. I looked at the numbers and the not just the attendance, but the sort of interaction on each session, and I chose the ones that went. So Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday I now do just one session per day, but there's still 2 sessions on a Monday and a Friday. Okay, so I did cut down 3 hours for my German. Okay, take care then. Thanks for coming. Thanks for taking part. April,
Are you sure
what are
that
you
is
doing
for
in
your
that
German?
It's definitely for
Or
German.
is that for your Viking?
No, it's for German. I take those 3 hours and I do 3 hours
I
German
don't
every
believe
week.
it.
I do, honestly. I will show you my bookings on my on the website for my German lessons, and I do 3 hours a week, and I cut 3 hours a week out of the calendar. I thought about cutting 5, so I was quite generous, but I didn't want to give up Monday Live Chat or TGIF. They're too much fun. And the Viking session, by the way, the Thursday Viking session, I set it up, but really Pry runs it, not me. He's the Viking. I'm still learning. So yeah, so that's a completely separate state of affairs, that one. Could I add you to Jessie's session? Yes, of course, I will do. Yes, I'll probably be around for the session, but Jessie is running it, not me. Okay, I'll be just listening in, and I don't stream it because it's Jessie's session, so I'll be in there, but it is her session. She's very good. It's quite tough though. I warn you. I was like, ooh, I don't teach that. I will do, Shiny, no worries. Take care then. Bye. Thanks for coming.
In my hand, my fingers black with engine grease, bending down over an object which seemed to him extremely ugly. You talk just like the grown-ups. That made me a little ashamed, but he went on relentlessly. You mix everything up together. You confuse everything. He was really very angry. He tossed his golden curls in the breeze. I know a planet where there is a certain red-faced gentleman. He has never smelled a flower. He has never looked at a star. He has never loved anyone. He has never done anything in his life but add up figures. And all day he says over and over, just like you, I'm busy with matters of consequence, and that makes him swell up with pride. But he is not a man, he is a mushroom. A what? A mushroom. The little prince was now white with rage. The flowers have been growing thorns for millions of years. For millions of years, the sheep have been eating them just the same. And is it not a matter of consequence to try to understand why the flowers go to so
with some of the more difficult or obscure vocabulary covered. Okay. And you'll also find your corrections from each week in this thread as well. Now, Shiny was the first person to speak to me today, followed by Eleanor, followed by April, followed by Vinay. Okay, so that will be our reading list sort of roll call. And you need to find this part in the book. I did not answer at that instant. Okay. So you'll need to search for I did not answer. And I think it's page 23. Okay. So we'll do our usual 5 minutes reading each. It works with 4 of us. It's not so good with 8. That's a page each, but I think that's okay if that's all right with you.
Sorry, how many pages? 3?
No, 5 minutes. I'll shout.
5 minutes. Okay.
Yeah. What you have to do, I'm afraid, is download the book. Has anybody got the link to the download? Let me just see.
It can be also opened in the viewer.
You're all happy. Good. Then, Shiny. Well, the Christmas box is the box he drew, and I meant to retexture it and forgot. That's the box. There's a sheep in there, April. Okay? There is a sheep in that box. Can you not see it? Here, I'll make it more literal. We'll move the sheep into the box. There you go. There you are. Just so his rear end's sticking out. No, I'll put his front end out. There you are. So the sheep in the box. Shiny, I will tell you when to stop reading. So it'll be about 5 minutes. But you can stop any time before that if you wish to. Remember, you don't have to keep going. Okay? Okay, whenever you're ready, Shiny.
I did not answer. At that instant, I was trying to myself, if this boat still won't turn, I'm going to knock it out with the hammer. Again, the little prince disturbed my thoughts. And you actually believe that the flowers... Oh no, I cried. No, I don't believe anything. I answered you with the first thing that came into my head. Don't you see? I'm very busy with matters of consequence. He stared at me, thunderstruck. Matters of consequence. He looked at me there with my hammer.
Have it.
Thank you. Yes, if you could. Oh, thank you. Okay, there it is, Vinay. Yes, I downloaded it just so I can have it available without stretching my internet connection. Okay, so far, the story so far, we've got the pilot who's crashed in the desert. Okay, and he meets this little boy, the little prince. Okay. He also discusses his opinion of adults a lot. So he's not that happy about adults because adults see things and put their own interpretation on them. They don't always see what he sees. But the little prince sees what he sees. He sees in the picture he shows him, he sees a snake swallowing an elephant. Okay, so you can see some of the items that are mentioned in the book around you. And the little prince also asks him to draw a sheep, and he rejects several drawings until the narrator draws a box, and then the little prince sees the sheep in the box and he's happy. But the prince starts to describe where he comes from, and he realizes he comes from another planet. Okay, so a lot of the book is about perception and what we see around us and how we perceive what's around us. Any questions so far? And and good morning. It's Lynn here from the Learn English Network. We're in our Little Prince setting because that's the book we're reading. This is the English Book Club. Come along if you want to read a book, the whole book and nothing but the book. Now, I said to you guys I found a little website earlier, littleprince.com. I don't know if you've been there. Don't go yet because you'll push your connection. But it's quite charming indeed. It is quite charming, and it's got lots of information about the book, about the musical, about the planet. There's even a store in Paris which is basically everything to do with the Little Prince, which is just wow. If I go to Paris, I'm definitely going to go there. There's even a park. Yeah, it's a phenomena. It really is. So it's a good book to read, I think. Now, so far we've read up to naughty me! I'm on the wrong page. I'm on live chat. I should be in the forum. Gosh. Okay, there we are. So, if you go to groups, virtual worlders. No, sorry. If you go to chat. Chit chat and then go to books and poetry, you will find the thread about the Little Prince, and there are updates available from Eleanor here,